friends, ladies and gentlemen, at this time we are going to begin the funeral services for Paula Williams. If you have a cell phone or a pager, I would ask you to please take a moment to turn it off or place it in the silent mode. And officiating today's services will be Rabbi Karmit Harari. And as we begin the service, the rabbi will lead the family in the tradition of Kriya.
The Hebrew word for funeral is levaya, and it means to accompany. In life, as in death, being alone is one of our greatest fears. And so it is today that we gather to accompany Paula to her final resting place. Coming together so that we ourselves are not left alone in our grief. We begin to plant the seeds of memory, which are watered by the tears of our loss. Kriya, with which we will begin our service, is an outward expression of the inner grief that we feel, of the tear that is left in our hearts at this loss. And I'll invite all those who are wearing a ribbon, as you're able, to please rise. Now invite you to repeat after me. Baruch atah Adonai, Elohim melech haolam, Dayan ha'emet. Blessed are you, Adonai, sovereign of the universe, judge of truth. Ecclesiastes wrote, "The eye never has its fill of seeing. Young or old, those who depart this life never see enough of the world, never complete their task, never cherish their loved ones enough before they are called home. How they yearn for a respite from the final summons. How they yearned to be close to us for yet another challenge in our lives, yet another joy, yet another precious moment together. Were it that we could bring Paula back for just one more moment. But the dust returns to the earth, and the spirit returns to God who gave it. O God, be now with those whose hearts are broken, because whenever parting comes, it comes too soon. Console them at this hour. Be near to them when light seems distant. Sustain them, O God, until the time of healing. As we gather today to remember Paula Williams, we thank you for all that was true and good in her life, for all that was sweet and inspiring in her character. May this hour, consecrated to memory, bring with it a message of consolation. We'll begin our service with the words of the 121st Psalm. Harim, me'ayin yavo עזרי מעם אדוני, עושה שמיים וארץ, אל ייתן למות רגלך, אל ינום שומרך, הנה לא ינום ולא יישן, שומר ישראל. אדוני שומרך, אדוני צילך, על יד ימינך. יומם השמש לא יככה, וירח בלילה. אדוני ישמורך מכל רע, ישמור את נפשך. אדוני ישמור צאתך ובואך, מעתה ועד עולם. A song of ascents. I lift my eyes to the mountains. From where will my help come? My help comes from Adonai, maker of heaven and earth. God will not let your foot falter. Your guardian will not slumber. Behold, the guardian of Israel neither slumbers nor sleeps. Adonai is your guardian. God is your protection by your right side. By day the sun will not harm you, nor the moon by night. Adonai will guard you from all evil. God will guard your life. Adonai will guard your going and coming from now and forevermore. Death has cast its dark shadow over this home and this family, and it has left us all deeply bereft. A voice has been stilled, a heart has been stopped. Laughter has departed, joy has fled. Gone are the warmth and the glow of a loved one's presence. The chain of love has lost a vital link. Death has taken a life which was precious. It has brought pain, loneliness, and sorrow. And yet, there is so much which death cannot touch, so much over which it has no dominion. Death cannot rob us of our past, the years, the dreams, the experiences we shared. Death cannot take from us the love that we knew. It is woven into the tapestry of our lives. The lessons we were taught, we shall continue to cherish. We shall cling to the wisdom which lives on. What we have had, we shall always possess. What we have known, we shall always hold dear. Death cannot take from us our abiding trust that God will give us the strength to endure what we must. Death cannot take from us our sustaining hope that darkness will yield light and hurt will give way to healing. Death cannot take from us the comforting faith that with God every soul is precious, none is ever lost. Thus, even in our sorrow, we thank God for the memories, for the hopes, for our trust and faith. For these, we believe, need never be lost. These and so much more, death can never take from us. And I'll invite us to join together in our service folders in the words of the 23rd Psalm. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leadeth me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou anointest my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. In the words of author Mitch Albom, death ends a life, not a relationship. Lost love is still love. It takes a different form, that's all. You can't see their smile or bring them food or tousle their hair or move them around a dance floor. But when those senses weaken, another heightens: memory. Memory becomes your partner. You nurture it, you hold it, you dance with it. And so it is today that we have really the pleasure of dancing with those memories, of hearing the beautiful recollections, and in the beautiful words that are on the poster in our foyer, hearing about the lives that Paula has touched. So I'd like to invite Joel to begin by sharing some of the beautiful memories of his mom.
On behalf of our entire family, I'd like to thank you for coming to celebrate Paula Williams. A special thanks to those of you who have traveled long distances, Seattle, Nevada, and even the faraway Chicago north suburbs. We're here today because Paula wasn't just important to us, she was unforgettable. She was endlessly patient, supportive, and caring. Let me tell you a few things about the mom of Debbie and Joel. First, Paula was intelligent. And I don't mean just smart, I mean encyclopedic, pre-internet. Don't bet against her in Trivial Pursuit intelligent. Before there was Google, there was Paula. You had a question, she had the answer, or at least a slightly obscure fact about it. During World War I, which countries were part of the Triple Entente that opposed Germany? What's the official language of Mozambique? What's the storyline behind the opera La Boheme? I still don't know. And don't even get her started on grammar. She would routinely find mistakes and typos in teachers' memos, in television scripts, newspapers, and famously, letters home from summer camp. While other kids got care packages with cookies, my letters home came back marked in red ink. Every misspelling, every grammar mistake was corrected like it was a homework assignment. Now, as my daughters can attest, that legacy lives on. Every time they would ask Grandma what a word means, she would give them the same answer that she gave us. Look it up in the dictionary. And to be fair, it worked. It's now me finding typos in other people's work. Second, Paula was nurturing. She basked in her children's accomplishments. She wouldn't brag, my son's gonna be a doctor, because let's be honest, we know that wasn't part of the plan. But she delighted in our victories. She celebrated our achievements to spur us on, to stretch ourselves, to keep pressing forward. When I was floundering with my bar mitzvah, Paula taught herself enough Hebrew to help me sound out the words. Watching her struggle motivated me. I mean, here's someone who's really trying. I guess I should put forth an equal amount of effort to figure this thing out. Finally, Paula was determined. She grew up in an era where you didn't dwell on life's unfairness. She played the hand she was dealt and somehow made it work. She cared deeply about learning, not grades, but actual learning. She once told my 6th grade teacher that my math homework was too easy. I mean, come on, I was 11, I didn't mind it. But Paula wasn't having it. If it's not challenging you, she would say, you're not growing. Paula believed that the point of life wasn't to coast, it was to grow. And if the bar was set too low, you weren't challenging yourself. Paula had a favorite saying from the Frank Capra movie, It's a Wonderful Life. The angel Clarence tells a downtrodden George Bailey that no man is a failure who has friends. That line meant something to Paula, and I think today proves it. To see all of you here, friends, family, people from different parts of her life, is proof of the deep connections she formed and the lives that she touched. I wanted to thank Rachel and my own group of Musketeers for their support over the past 40 years. My family was blessed to have Grandma Paula in our lives, and I'm glad we got a chance to share her with you. Thank you for being here to honor her.
We'll invite Lauren to share some wonderful memories of her time with her grandmother.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here to honor and celebrate the life of my grandma. Bear with me through this. It's hard to put into words just how much she meant to me, because she wasn't just a grandmother. She was a keeper of memories, a cheerleader for every small victory, and the quiet strength that held so much of our family together. Grandma had this beautiful flowing cursive handwriting. It was elegant, graceful, and completely impossible for me to read. I tried my best. I'd get cards, notes, birthday cards, and just kind of smile and nod as I read them, later asking someone else to translate her heartfelt messages. Some of them I still cannot translate. Even as I begged her to write and print, she's still sick with that cursive. It was hers through and through. One of the things I'll treasure is how she kept everything I made. School drawings, handmade cards, messy little crafts that I'd long forgotten about, but she hadn't. They were tucked away in the childhood books she made for me and my sister, or proudly displayed on her fridge. She also mended my baby blanket again and again until it was just a square, because she knew how much I loved it. She didn't try to replace it or throw it away. She understood the comfort it gave me and quietly preserved that comfort for as long as she could. She also played a huge role in my Jewish upbringing. She brought me to Hebrew school and summer camp and taught me about countless Jewish traditions that I may have never understood if she never explained them to me. They were not always the easiest lessons, but ones that stayed with me. And whether or not realized at the time, she was helping lay the foundation for who I would become. And of course, she never missed a single event. I swear, if I told her I was coming home for a cheer competition or that I was coming home from college, it was immediately written in her calendar. And not just written, but underlined, circled, and probably highlighted. She was proud of me in a way that made me want to make her proud all over again. Every milestone, no matter how small, she celebrated it like it was the most important thing in the world, even when I hurt myself many, many times. She wasn't a perfect driver, far from it, actually. Some of us might remember the crash on the way to summer camp, and maybe more than one near miss, but she always showed up. She was always there for us when we needed her. Even if we were holding our breath in the passenger seat, she got us there with love, determination, and maybe a little bit of luck. In her later days, we do word searches together, taking turns finding words, often trying to race each other to find a certain word first. I'd often tell her, "Grandma, if I find this word first, you'll have to take a sip of water." We know how much she hated drinking water. I'll treasure those moments more than I can say. She loved loudly. The love Grandma gave was steady, thoughtful, and the unwavering kind. She gave it so freely and to all who walked through our lives. Anyone who walked through our door would be, "Hi, I'm Grandma. Call me Grandma Paula." That love shaped who I am today. I will miss her warmth, her notes, her fierce pride in everything I did, even her illegible cursive. But I carry her with me in everything I do. Her belief in me will always echo in the choices I make, the things I create, and the life I try to live with heart and purpose. Thank you, Grandma, for everything. I love you to the moon and back always, as you would say.
Rachel will come and share something very special from her mother-in-law.
So for those of us, for those of you who knew Paula, you knew that she had notes everywhere. So we found this note, or Debbie found this note that she had written to the family. And so I'm just going to read some in her words. So it says, "An important love letter to my family. It was started November 5th, 2017, updated September 2019, and notes in the margin have been ongoing ever since." So it says, "This is to tell you about my thoughts in this, my 86th year. First and most important is that you must know how completely and fully I love all of you. Your good health and happiness are of the utmost importance to me. Please take good care of yourselves so that you too may have a long, healthy, and happy life. Take care of your children so they too will live long, and tell them that you have promised Grandma that you expect them to follow her example. As you probably realize, I have lived frugally and tried not to waste anything. There is a difference between frugal and stingy, but I hope you will keep in mind that Abe Lincoln has grown accustomed, after all these years, to being pinched painfully, and it's now too late to change that habit. So here's my story. I guess you know I was born in Los Angeles 3 months after my father died at the age of 32. In those pre-tech days, it was presumed to have been due to a heart attack. That was always presented to me as a natural thing. People died, but life went on for those left behind. In my case, those were his wife of only 11 months and his not yet born child. I may not have had my father, but I had his 4 older brothers and their families, and my mother's brothers and their families. My Silver family lived far away in LA and Sioux City, and it was some time before I met my California in-laws. The Schwartz family was much closer, Of course, my young widow mother and her infant daughter, that's me, moved back to Chicago to live with her parents, as was the custom in those days. So I grew up in a 4-room apartment with 5 adults. Keep in mind that this was only a few years after the Great Depression. Money was scarce and jobs were scarcer. There was no such thing as a spare room. An unmarried woman, of course, lived with her parents. Even had she been able to afford it, a single woman, particularly one with a child, simply did not live alone. A few days after my 6th birthday, Mother and I went on a great adventure to meet my California in-laws. The 40-hour train ride took 2 days and 1 night, and you could sleep in your seat on the train and eat in the dining car. What a luxury. White tablecloths, waiters in proper uniforms, and I was treated like a lady. Of course, I had to act the part too. I was carefully prepared by Mother, who told me that a 6-year-old girl had a great responsibility, to pretend that she was only 5. The reason, of course, was that children under 6 traveling with an adult could ride free of charge. When we met my California in-laws, one of the uncles playfully asked me, "How old are you?" I thought that over and finally appealed to a higher authority. "Mommy, am I my real age or the age I was on the train?" That story was retold many times that summer. Here's some more history. I never graduated high school, although I was given a certificate of completion after 2 years at the University of Chicago. When I started college, I was 15 years plus 1 month old. I had been awarded a half tuition scholarship with the proviso, there was a but of course, that I would take no fewer than 4 major subjects and complete all 12 core subjects within 3 years. Paula then talks about charity in the letter. Charity has always been an important part of my family's life, dating back to the little blue boxes of my childhood. Every Jewish family had a blue box for charity on a windowsill. My favorite charities are those, especially the Jewish ones, that help to feed and shelter the needy and/or neglected. As this was underlined by President John F. Kennedy, who said, "To whom much is given, much is expected." Murray's favorite charity was the March of Dimes, started with the support of President Franklin D. Roosevelt, who had suffered polio, as had Murray. I continue to support this one too. The letter then goes on to explain where different important things can be found, of course in the closet or dresser drawers, and ends up with some very important Grandma Paula advice we all can use on ongoing debts. Always pay bills promptly to avoid penalties. Penalties for late payments are the dumbest debts you can incur and the easiest to avoid. One way to be sure that you can always pay on time is to follow Grandma's golden rule. If you can't pay for it, don't buy it. That included charging purchases rather than paying for them up front. The rule applies either way, no excuses. I am definitely going to miss my weekly advice from Grandma Paula. We love you.
The heart of the intelligent seeks understanding. This quote from the biblical book of Proverbs, I think especially seems appropriate as I think about my own interactions with Paula. Intelligent, kind, smiling, funny. All of these characterize the person that I so often saw on a Tuesday at lunchtime, either here or at Temple Anshe Shalom and Shalom over 50s. And in speaking with her family, I learned just how smart Paula was. Of course, as we heard, it should come as no surprise. For a woman who graduated high school and, as we heard, went to college at 15, graduating from there only 2 years later. But degrees and book smarts aside, as Joel told us, really learning was important to Paula, and learn she did. Throughout her life, completing crossword puzzles, word searches, and engaging in games of trivia where everyone, I'm told, wanted her on their team. She made it her mission to try and learn Hebrew and help Joel to learn his Torah portion for his bar mitzvah. And she reprised the skill again when it was granddaughter Lauren's turn in order to tackle all kinds of things in Hebrew school. Hannah tells me that her grandmother taught her how to knit, crochet, and embroider, as well as how to cook her favorite dish, all before she was 13. It seems that Paula understood that knowledge could take you anywhere you wanted to go. Following her graduation from college and a few years in the workforce, Paula's knowledge took her across the country. Working at Reprise Records, a company owned by old Blue Eyes himself, Mr. Frank Sinatra, might have been a dream job for some. But Los Angeles wore thin on Paula, who felt that things there were superficial. And like her mother some 20 plus years earlier, Paula packed up her things and moved back home to the Windy City. As we heard, she was the daughter of a young widow named Pearl, and she never got to meet her father, who died before Paula was born. But she was raised in the South Shore neighborhood of Chicago, surrounded by a loving family, which only grew as she did. When Paula was 10 years old, Pearl got remarried to Jake, and 3 siblings rounded out the bunch. Perhaps this is why family played such an important and central role in Paula's life. Rachel tells me that the gathering aspect of the holidays was especially important to her mother-in-law. And Debbie adds that in their house, the holidays were always elastic, meaning their celebrations took place whenever the family could gather. This was the focus. But, as we heard Lauren share, you didn't have to be related to Paula to call her grandma. In fact, I'm told she not only invited everyone to do so, but she encouraged it. Even Debbie's cleaning lady knew her as Grandma Paula, a title which she wore with great joy and great love. And even though Joel tells me that his and Debbie's mom was the shortest and most feared among his friends, while they were growing up, both he and Debbie speak of Paula with nothing but love. She could be tough. I am told that she had a strict rule that you could not go out on a date on Erev Shabbat. You had to come home and be with family. And she could be stubborn. I'm also told that in her later years, she felt that her walker was slowing her down. But Paula was kind and loving, and she went to great lengths to show her family just how much she cared. Paula met the love of her life, Murray, through her brother. They began dating and they were married on May 28th in 1967, before going on to raise 2 wonderful children and to watch their family lovingly grow. I'm told that Murray had polio, which caused him to walk with a limp. So on one particularly snowy evening, when Murray was due home from work, Paula shoveled not only the walkway to their home, but the sidewalk all the way down the street, 2 blocks, all the way to the bus stop where he would be dropped off. Ironically, of course, that was the night he got a ride home. But Paula was determined, and she used her strength and skill on another occasion when money was tight and temple dues were too high in order to negotiate a trade of sorts, a temple membership in exchange for which she taught kindergarten here in our Sunday school for many years. Judaism was important to Paula and Murray, and they worked hard to ensure that their children got a Jewish education including B'nai Mitzvah, confirmation, and summers at URJ Camp Olansing Ruby Union Institute. Paula, I think, was exceptionally strong. She experienced two significant losses, those of her father and her husband. But with courage and determination, she overcame any obstacle that might have threatened to throw her off course. Hannah tells me that her grandmother was faithful, always there for anyone who was in need. And I can speak of her admirable dedication to the Jewish community, having coordinated Shalom Over 50s for years, right up until the pandemic. Paula seemed to live by an unspoken motto, best expressed, I think, in the words of the poet Yehuda Leib Gordon, who wrote, "Knowledge is like the sun. It dispels all darkness." With her warmth and her humor, her kindness and her love, Paula dispelled any darkness in the world around her. I hope that we always remember her with a smile, and that we each take up her own zest for learning, making it a point to always look up what we don't know and taking new facts in every day. We are all better off for having had Paula in our lives. Tehe nishmata tzrura b'tzror hechayim. May her soul be bound up in the bond of eternal life. May she rest in peace. And let us say, as you're able, I invite you to rise as we offer a prayer of El Malei Rachamim, asking God's compassion upon Paula's soul. El Malei Rachamim, shochen b'meromim, hametzeh menucha nechona, תחת כנפי השכינה, במעלות קדושים וטהורים, כזוהר הרקיע מזהירים את נשמת Paula בת פנחס ופרל שהלכה לעולמה, בגן עדן תהא מנוחתה. אנא בעל הרחמים, הסתיריה בסתר כנפיך לעולמים, וצרור בצרור החיים את נשמתה. אדוני הוא נחלתה, ותנוח בשלום על משכבה, ונאמר Amen. Exalted, compassionate God, grant infinite rest in your sheltering presence among the holy and pure to the soul of Paula Williams, who has gone to her eternal home. Merciful One, we ask that she find perfect peace in your eternal embrace. May her soul be bound up in the bond of life. May she rest in peace, and let us say, Amen. You're welcome to be seated.
And friends, this concludes the services here at the synagogue. The interment and burial services will take place at Zion Garden Cemetery in Chicago. For those of you traveling with us to the cemetery in the funeral procession, please do keep the following safety precautions in mind. Please make sure that your bright headlights and your four-way hazard flashes are on. Please be sure to obtain an orange funeral safety sticker for your windshield, and we will be providing several of the cars in the procession with a magnetic orange flag to be placed on top of your car. As we travel from here to the cemetery, we will be taking the highway, And also, as we make our way through the local intersections, if the car in front of you goes through a stop sign, please proceed with caution and follow that car as we make our way forward. Also, as you're going through the intersections, feel free to use your horn liberally to kind of make sure everybody knows that we're in a funeral procession and they're not, as we make our way to the cemetery. The family will be together for Shiva tomorrow, Saturday, from 5 until 9 p.m. with a 7 p.m. minion at the Williams residence at 21204 Hunter Woods Drive in Frankfort. And the family has also requested that any memorial contributions in her memory to the Jewish United Fund. At this time, we would ask everyone to please rise and stand in place as we escort the casket, the rabbi, and the family from the sanctuary.